Greetings, fam. Today's presentation, celebrities are dragging your kids to hell. Now, you probably already know this, but I bet you don't know why the celebrities are being paid millions of dollars to do so. So I'm going to let you on to something that may surprise some of you and it may not surprise some of you, but nonetheless, celebrities are put in place by the elite to drag this generation into hell. In order for the elite to complete their mission of total world domination, this generation must indeed be the last generation. Not only will many alive today be eliminated, but the elite are creating a generation of drug-abusing, dysfunctional, mind-controlled zombies. Now, think about this for a minute. Who in their right mind would pay to see a Lil Wayne concert? Only a bunch of other weed-smoking, lean-sipping, Molly-taking, pants-sagging, effeminate, illiterate, lost individuals. And why does Lil Wayne get such a big paycheck? Because the elite know that his millions of dysfunctional fans who want to be a Lil Wayne will do whatever he does. And so based on Lil Wayne's popularity, the elite know that sales of blunt wraps, cough syrup, urban gear, liquor will skyrocket. And this will ensure that, and they, in fact, will ensure that Lil Wayne uses these products in public so that his fans will know what to buy when they emulate him. Not to mention marijuana sales, but I'm going to get into how the government controls the drugs. We think that there's a war on drugs. It's not. Okay, so the police also attend Lil Wayne concerts, and they are there because the police are the Illuminati watchdogs. So they are there to arrest concert goers who mistakenly believe that they can do illegal activities because Lil Wayne's doing it. And subsequently, the elite's goal of mass incarceration is also being fulfilled. Now, at some point during the changing of the guard here in America, more states will legalize marijuana, and medical marijuana will loosen its stringent requirements so that people can obtain it. Now, you don't have to believe me, but here's what the Chatham House, who's the home of the Royal Institute of International Affairs, and it's also a world-leading institute for the debate and analysis of international issues, has to say. In part, because it's a long statement, but I'm going to read you the part that matters. Having been failed by Christianity, and with unemployment on every hand, those who have been without jobs for 5 years or more will turn away from the church and seek solace in drugs. That is when full control of the drug trade must be completed in order that the governments of all countries who are under our jurisdiction will have monopoly, which we will control through supply. Drug bars will take care of the unruly and discontent would-be revolutionaries, and they will be turned into harmless addicts with no will of their own. End quote. So essentially, and since this is international, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, this applies to all countries, not just America. They plan to have a nations of drug-addicted people. This is why you have, right here in New York on 14th Street, we've got a medical marijuana dispensary. And I can tell you, every day people are in there trying to get their medical marijuana license so that they can get their weed and not have to worry about police. And there are several states already that have legalized marijuana, so now you can go in a store and buy it. They even have all sorts of food made with marijuana, and this is all part of getting people addicted so that they will not be tuned in to what's really happening around them. And on a side note, I want to give you a little history of the elites very long history with drugs in America. Now, the Bavarian Illuminati, which was the original Illuminati, was the foundation for the Colombian faction of the Illuminati. And why is that relevant? Because that faction is the one who was responsible for bringing the billion-dollar drug cartels to America. And you say, no, that can't be true. Well, how do you think they got here? And prior to and shortly after the revolution, America used Colombian money. And this is why our government is run out of the District of Columbia. And don't believe me, do research like I did. Because these guys ran our government. And this is also where we get Columbia Records, Columbia Broadcast System, CBS, the Columbia Space Shuttle, and Columbia University. Think about it. Why are all these things in America Colombian? Entitled. Why are they titled with Columbia this and Columbia that? Because that is who used to run our government. And the so-called war on drugs, well, surprise, surprise. It's not about drugs. It's about money. So think about it. When the marijuana becomes legal, it's going to be taxed, thus creating more revenue for our government. Now, why do the elite want to medicate the youth, and in particularly the black youth? Well, because they feel that the black youth are self-destructive. They have rebellious attitudes toward authority, have criminal tendencies, and also have general ignorance or ineptitude. Thus, the elite's only interest in black people, period, is in the furtherance of their agenda. And this is why there is a secret coffer of monies that line the pockets of these entertainers, black leaders, pastors, politicians, and others who are willing to aid the elite in the furtherance of this goal by deceiving the people. So you might be saying, well, there's a lot of people who don't use drugs, so they're not going to be able to be controlled. Okay, so for those who don't drink the Kool-Aid, other techniques are employed. For instance, mass hypnosis is attainable by the repetition of an important theme like rap. So if someone's rapping about killing all day and the fan is walking around with that in their head all day, they are doing a form of brainwashing, and it's a mind control, and it's going to make them have that anger and that aggression. And it doesn't help if they're already coming out of a household where they're not getting the sufficient guidance or love or encouragement to be a positive person. So they're listening to all this negativity, and that's what they're feeding themselves every day. And these types of individuals, once they have a steady diet of that and they're lacking in other areas, they may indeed seek to make up for that lack by robbing people so that they can have money too, or by hurting people because they feel hurt. And it goes on and on. This type of feeding of this hypnosis of music is accepted as fact by the subconscious, and then eventually the conscious mind. So that little girl who's listening to Drunken Love or Rude Boy, Can You Get It Up, or any of these other sexually implicit and explicit songs, she's going to begin to act out the song and the behavior of the videos because she goes to that Beyonce concert because she wants to be Beyonce. Or she sees Rihanna dressed provocatively, she wants to be Rihanna, because whatever is lacking in the household, the young people who are emulating these stars feel that they can get it by being like the star. And so they will repeat the behavior that is already in their conscious mind that they've received either through the music or the TV show or the video game or the films or whatever. these messages can be transmitted, and they're not immediately perceived by the eyes or the conscious mind. They're subconsciously perceived and then acted out. And this is the whole goal of the elite, because they know that once this starts happening, especially in the sexual acting out. This is why Amber Rose has her show where she talks nothing but trash and sex, and she even, I don't even want to repeat the vulgar thing that someone sent me that she said regarding sexual activities with her ex-husband. And the young girls who see that, they think, oh wow, well, if I act like a tramp, I can get a show too, and I can be like Amber. But what they don't realize is that the Ambers and the Kim Ks and all of these thoughts, and despite them having been married or being married, they still came in the gate being a thought. So by them pushing this behavior, the elite are winning their war, which is to destroy the youth, because they're breeding a generation, another generation of thoughts, and of unwed mothers, and of women who wind up with sexually contracted diseases. And it's a cycle, and it never ends. And also the men who look at these sexually over the board women, they create fantasies within themselves about these women, and so they seek out these very same young girls who are emulating the stars, and in some cases they're abused or attacked by virtue of sending out these messages, by acting sexually aggressive and implying that any man can have them, that all he needs to do is have a nice car or a pocket full of money. And so the elite, they feel, they see all of this, and they feel like, in most cases, especially in the terms of the black youth, they feel like they're already predisposed to this behavior anyway, so that in order for the world to progressively advance under the New World Order, many of these people must be eliminated so that there will be more resources for the privileged classes. And any remaining undesirables will be enlisted as a slave class to serve the so-called elite. And that's why there'll always be jobs in prisons and the police force. They're always hiring, because they're going to need the slave class to lock the people up and to watch them while they're locked up. And there'll also be people who will be in service positions. They'll always need people to serve food and to cook the food and to clean people's houses and any other service position, because that is what the world is going to. You think we've moved forward? We're actually going backward. So I'm going to wind up here, and I'm going to ask you, why don't people open their eyes and see what's going on? Why don't they listen? Well, the only thing I can think of is Matthew 7:13, which provides one answer. For wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. I'm going to end with prayer. Lord, I ask you to intervene on our behalf, Lord. These things, Lord, they were spoke of, and we were warned, and we were told they were coming, and now they're here. But so many are still in darkness, and these are the ones who I make my petition for. I seriously and earnestly, and as a woman of God, am concerned about the youth. They are running down the path of destruction. They're not even walking. They're jumping in with both feet to follow the enemy, and they do not realize that they will pay dearly for these bad decisions, and that, while they're young, I understand you want to have fun, you want to, you want to go to concerts, you want to do things with your friends, but the drugs are out of control. There's a return now of heroin, which is one of the most dangerous drugs out there. And the youth are out there doing it. I said in a previous video how young people are sniffing coke, walking up and down the street. And weed is everywhere. It's become acceptable. And I know for years I was a pothead. And that's why I can't remember stuff now, because I was such a pothead. But I'm going to tell you something. Well, I don't have to tell you, Lord, but I want to just pause the prayer and say to the people that the stuff that is out there now, it's doctored. You can smoke something today that will cause you to lose your mind, and you'll wind up on real medication for the rest of your life and probably locked up somewhere. So think about it. And I know so many people say, yeah, well, weed is of the earth and it's of God. And I even wrote a book about it. I wrote a biblical view on smoking weed. You can find that on Amazon. But I'm going to tell you, like I said in the book, sure, it's in the ground. Yes, it's grown. And yes, the Lord put it there. But he also put poison mushrooms. So are you going to smoke and eat those too? There are a lot of things that are here that we are not. This is why we don't have, we were not supposed to eat of the garden of good and evil. Because there are certain things that are not for us to know. We are not supposed to partake in everything because everything is not good. So in back to my prayer, Lord, I just want to ask you to give the youth discernment in their choices and help those who are misguided by these entertainers to really open their eyes and see it for what it is and not be so quick to be a follower. Everybody is worried about their dollars and their followers. And these are not things that are going to matter in the end times. The time is coming when money will be irrelevant. The time is coming when it won't matter how popular you are because everyone's going to be going for self. So help the people to prepare and to know that we are indeed in these end times and it is not a time to be slacking. Step up your game, young people. Thank you, Lord, always for the followers, for the subscribers, for the followers of the word. I don't want people to follow me. Follow the word. My videos are about the word. Don't follow me. When you subscribe because you want to hear the word. Because I am nothing. I am nobody. I am simply a servant of God. I should say I am no better than anybody. And I am not a idol or something that you should look up to. So many of you say thank you to me for my videos, but thank God, for it is through him that I do what I do. It is not me. I cannot do. I would never be so presumptuous as to take the credit, because it is there but by the grace of God go I. So please believe that I'm not the producer. I'm simply the commentator. My producer and my director is my Lord and Father. And for him be the glory. Amen.